Hey, everybody. Cassidy, founder and creator of the Caregivers Hub, coming to you today. A monthly Google Hangouts. And today I'm here with Mary Rama Geek, and we are going to be talking about bridging the gap between professional caregivers and family caregivers. And we're going to talk about the difference between the two. We're going to talk about some of the frustrations that we all experience as professional caregivers and family caregivers. And I love that we are doing these now because I feel like this is the time. You know, we politically, I'm sure all of you are worried about what's happening with healthcare. Where are we going to be in a year with healthcare? Who's going to be covered? Who's not going to be covered? Who's a pre-existing condition and who's not? What is and what is not? I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on right now with healthcare, and I'm of the philosophy healthcare is broken. There's so much that needs to happen and so many changes that need to be made that it's overwhelming. But this topic came up in the hub, and as things do, you know, I think all of us, even healthcare professionals, have run into pitfalls and frustrations with healthcare that we've experienced, whether it's an emergency room visit, a doctor visit, something that you would hope would run seamless, that your nurses would have good attitudes, that your doctors, you know, more centered on your care. I think that we're all family caregivers and professional caregivers frustrated with the way that things run. And so it came up in the hub, and I thought, you know what? It's something that a bone of contention that I have seen for many, many, many years. It's always this perception that professional caregivers don't truly care about your loved one and don't have their best interests at heart. And, you know, among professional caregivers, family members tend to be quote unquote yes. You know, they have contention, and I felt like we needed to bring it out and talk about it. And this is how I know we need. When I was sharing about this and inviting people to come out here and speak about their experiences in healthcare, experiences with caregivers, experiences as caregivers, that I got a response, and it went like this: there's a time and a place for caregivers, family caregivers and professional caregivers, and the topic did not need to be discussed. And I felt like this is exactly why we have to talk about it, because we're not talking about it. And we're not acknowledging that there's a problem. And I think if we better understood each other, then we could work together, because you want to know what? We are in it together. We really and truly are. We have to be in it. If family caregivers have tips and tricks and information for professional caregivers about their loved ones, we as professional caregivers, we have to listen to those things. We have to acknowledge those things. My main goal when I have a patient is to care for them, A, how they want to be cared for, B, how their families want them cared for, and C, how their facilities want them cared for. And if I can hit all those marks, then I know I'm doing a good job. It is difficult as a professional caregiver, but it's also difficult for family caregivers. So I do want to talk today about how that goes. So, but before I do that, I want Mary to come out, and I want her to give you a little bit of background about her caregiving journey and her experiences with professional caregivers. So Mary, if you'd love to come out, I'd appreciate it.
Hi. Okay, well, my name's Mary Ramageek, and I have had a professional caregiver for about a year and a half, and she was absolutely a fabulous woman. She's a CNA, and I couldn't have asked for anyone to be any better. She always dressed in a professional outfit. She always acted professionally. There was never any question. When she came in, it was like there was a doctor in the house. And my mother-in-law being elderly, and she got to the point that she didn't want to take a shower, but knew that she had to take a shower because that was what the lady was there for. But she always gave the impression that she was a doctor, and she was treated by it as like a doctor when she took her blood pressure and took her temperature, and just everything that she did, she always gave the impression of someone who cared about her. When mom would get up, she would always walk with her, just behind her, with her hands around her, but not touching her, so that mom had the independence to walk herself, but with the, that I always knew that she was right there and could take care of her.
Mm-hmm.
And no matter what the weather was, my mother-in-law always said no, she didn't want to take a shower. And the lady would always say, yeah, but we're going to today.
Mm-hmm.
And whether it was hot or cold, it was always the wrong weather. If it was cold, it was too cold. If it was hot, it was still too cold. But she was absolutely incredible. And she cared about my mother-in-law. And I really feel that when my mother-in-law left, I really lost a companion, because she was a fabulous woman. She was the type of woman that I could leave and I could go to the grocery store and I didn't have to worry.
Yeah.
And that took so much off of me, to know that I had someone that I could trust and I never had to worry. And she wasn't someone that ever played on her cell phone like some people may say that that's a problem that they have. She
Mm-hmm.
never did anything like that. She was constantly right there. And I mean, she was just a fabulous person, and she conducted herself with dignity at all times. And
Yeah.
that's why it hurts me when I hear of someone that doesn't think that CNAs are worthwhile, because I know that I at least was extremely lucky. I would hope everyone would be as lucky as I was.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, unfortunately, we can't teach compassion, and we can't teach respect, and we can't teach common sense. And there's a difference between people like myself talking about who truly care about the people that we care for and have intentions towards them. But then there is a huge amount of people who are not heart centered, are simply there for just a paycheck. And being on both sides of that, I've seen both sides of that. So I understand that how family caregivers get frustrated, and how they have those perceptions, because there's a lot of crap out there, unfortunately. And our society, we tend to focus more on the positive things. And it just paints a bad picture. And I think the thing is that we oftentimes lump everybody together. We lump everybody together, and we don't really acknowledge the good things that people do and the good work that certified nurses aides do. And it's unfortunate it's something that it's a volatile topic. You know, I saw it in the hub very quick about you know, about caregivers. I just think that our industry has created this this environment. Mainly our certified nurses aides, our professional caregivers, are underpaid, they're overworked. And a lot of medical professionals, whether it be doctors or nurses or nurse managers or administrators or whoever, believe that we are second-class citizens. And I hate that. It is horrible. So when I hear people say that I don't know, that we're all the same, it drives me nuts. Their loved ones. I see that one a lot. And that's frustrating. I'm going to try to get in another hubber onto this little hangout we've got. And okay. So you had a certified nurse's aide. How long was your certified nurse, and how did you come across the certified nurse's aide, Mary?
Well, what I did was I contacted the state, and then they referred me to a local or an agency here in my county. And then through the county, they just assigned me the nurse's aide. But I'll tell you, they couldn't have done any better. And then the fact that I was the last one of the day because I was the closest one to her house made a big difference. You know. But
so it was through a state-run program. Was it like a DHS?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. But you know, when you were talking about nurses and things like on NRNs, I found that the RNs, because I mean, my mother-in-law would have an RN at the house at least once a month, and that the RNs were so busy and had so much to do that there wasn't a lot of time to talk with them. I mean, basically they would say, is there any problems or anything? But they were looking to their CNA, because I always scheduled it to be at the same time so that I would, if there was any problems, they would you know, have the answer too. And they were just so busy. They would just didn't have time. I mean, you know, they were like running as they're writing down stuff. You know, they're running around trying to do everything, taking stats on my mother-in-law, which had already been done by the CNA. So, you know, it was almost like futile. And once they realized it, they just stopped doing it.
Well, I mean, you know, and first of all, I want to say, hey, Danielle, you have no idea how excited I am to see your face. I'm going to unmute you so you can say hello. Maybe I might unmute you if I know what I'm doing. Oh, wait. My goodness.
She's muted.
I know. How do I unmute her? How do I unmute you? No. Oh, my Lanta. My goodness. How? I don't know how I unmute you, Danielle. Poop. Oh, no. This is no good. I can't hear her at all. So I'm going to present to everyone. There you are. But why can't I unmute you? Can you unmute yourself? Should be a little box with a little arrow.
Is it working?
There we go.
There you are.
There we go.
Woohoo! All right. So we're having good conversations. I'm super excited. So Danielle, you are a brand new mama and
Yes.
a certified nurse's aide. And you know why I respect that you've come out here today is because this is a volatile topic, but it is one
Mm-hmm.
that affects every single one of us. And I know, and Danielle knows, as certified nurses aides, this industry is built on our backs literally until they break.
Yeah,
Literally.
definitely.
Yeah. And and you know, Danielle has approached me in the past because sometimes as a certified nurse's aide, even though we understand what family caregivers are going through, because we know we often go through the same things, but not the same things. For us as certified nurses aides, to hear people generalize us, portray us as people who don't care for their loved ones, who are not capable of providing good care. And that's so I know I'm not alone in that.
Yeah, it is. It is frustrating because you do care so much, and you want everybody to know you care, but you get stuck in this box of the bad ones, and it's just like everybody gets stuck in that box.
Right. Mm-hmm. It's absolutely true. And, you know, I think we just change the perceptions. Like, there's no way to say that healthcare isn't broken and that we don't have to do better, because we
Hmm.
have to do better.
Yeah.
You know, all of us, I mean, I've worked with certified nurses aides who are horrible. I've worked with certified nurses aides who are awesome. And this industry doesn't support us as professional caregivers. Not really. It doesn't really look out for us. It takes advantage of us and makes us feel like we are less than, that our skills don't matter, that we're all just a bunch of idiots and scrubs wandering around not being able to take care of your loved ones. And that's frustrating. But then again, certified nurses aides, we have to remember family caregivers, by the time we find them and by the time we see them, they are at the end of their ropes. They're tired. They've given up everything. They have guilt for placing their loved ones. They've heard horrible things about skilled nursing facilities and home care agencies and everything else. And I can see how these things happen. So
Yeah, I definitely do see like how it can happen. It's just it makes me feel so bad for the families because you want to be there for them and show them, and a lot of times they do hear before they even get a CNA in their house, all these horror stories and everything else. And you want to be able to show them that everybody's not like that. And for me, it's always been so frustrating because I don't know, I just feel like there's this underlying thing to where they're just waiting for that. And I can sense that, I guess. But I don't know, I still try. I try my best and everything.
right.
But
But I mean,
I don't know, I don't want to be like that for people. And it makes me so sad that it is like that sometimes.
well, you know, healthcare has now, it breeds this environment of, you know, I don't know. I've thought about what is it? What will change this industry? There's so much, we're so jaded. You know, we're understaffed, we're overworked, And that's not going to get any better. It's going to get worse because we're going to have more people to take care of. And these jobs are extremely within reason, I think. Every state is different. Every state has different requirements for certified nurses aides or caregivers. Certified nurses aides go through different training than somebody who works at DSHS. You know, some people. I really wish Elaine was here, Elaine Rusk, because she had a hell of a time finding a certified nurses aide who could actually work a Hoyer lift to be able to get her dad where he needed to be. And she pretty much had most home care agents. They didn't have anybody skilled enough to care for her dad. And how frustrating is that when you're a family caregiver? You've been caring for somebody for years with very little sleep. I mean, I can understand why family caregivers are sick of healthcare. They're sick of CNAs. You have to go through 5 bad ones to get a good one. And that sucks. That really, really sucks. So it's frustrating. But I don't necessarily know how we fix it other than we talk about it. The things that we go through as professional caregivers. I mean, as a CNA, I showed up one day to 30 patients. 30 patients to myself. Yeah, 30 patients.
What? How long were you working?
Everybody else called in sick. Everybody else called in sick except for me and another certified nurse's aide, or 2 other certified nurse's aides for his entire facility. And I the entire time. And I did the best that I could for that 8 hours, because you want to know what? I was all those people had. I was all they had that day. And consistently, we show up in those conditions as CNAs. We have intentions to care for people, but the facilities that we work in are understaffed. The turnover rates are crazy. And then we don't want to show up to work because we're tired. You know, we're the ones putting in the effort while the other people get away messing around at work, you know. And the people who actually do show up with hearts on their sleeve to care for people, we get the shit end of the stick. And so that's how, when people say that certified nurses aides are jaded, you know, it happens. That's how it happens. That's how we are at the place we are at, with having a gap between professional caregivers and family caregivers. So, Mary, will you throw in your input on what it was like to be a family caregiver?
It was the hardest thing in the world that I've ever had to do. And I wouldn't wish it on anybody, only because when you're a caregiver 24/7, you lose sight of who you've become. And that was the major problem, because I love my mother-in-law to death, but it got so bad for so long that I was finally able to sign her up at an elder house where she could go 3 days a week on the school bus and go. And the first day I slept a little bit, and the third day I went to the doctors, and on the 5th day of my week I went to the grocery store. But it was bad. I mean, whenever she needed to go to the bathroom, I would have to get up because I would have to wipe her. I would have to stand by her as she brushed her teeth, because if I didn't do that, she wouldn't brush her teeth.
Right.
You know, I'd have to take her in the bedroom, make sure that she had her pajamas, and that take her clothes and put them in the, I'd have to hide her dirty clothes. Otherwise
Put them back.
she'd put them back on, or she'd put them in her closet to be reused. She
Right.
was at the age of a 5-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
and it didn't matter. I mean, I've taken care of her when I put a mask on because I was sick. And luckily she never got any of the things that I had, where my nose is running and my eyes are blurry, and I'm still taking care of her. So I'd put the mask on and I was able to prevent her getting any sickness.
Yeah.
But
well, and that, I mean, I think exactly what you just said is what we need to remember when we encounter family caregivers, is that they have literally been through hell providing the person. And, we as professional caregivers should, I just feel like we should always be cognizant. The people we care for and their families are our customers. If healthcare was judged by the Better Business Bureau, it would be a creek without a paddle. I mean, it's a mess. And there's people like in our hub, Sherry Burke and her father, Arthur Burke. I don't know if you've been following.
Oh, yeah, I've been doing that.
To Sherry, she admitted her dad to the VA hospital, Florida, after he fell and broke a hip. He had a hip replacement, I believe. Somehow, and this is not just one case. This happens every day, day in, day out. Somehow the staples were left in his legs longer than they should have been. They got infected. They were MRSA, right? MRSA runs rampant in hospitals.
Yeah.
And get this, it was, she found evidence that all of the labs had come back that it was MRSA and that he should be on standard precautions. Mm-hmm. Isolation precautions. That means anybody going in and out of that room should have had a mask on, should have had a glove on, should have had a gown on. Yeah. And nothing posted. No out infection control cart that has, blood pressure cuffs and all those things that we use for people. Nothing was done about it. And on top of that, is as good as mine. Somebody dropped the ball somewhere. That's the whole point about it.
Yeah.
Somebody dropped the ball, and instead of doing what they were supposed to be doing as medical professionals to follow standards of operation and procedure, like this is universal. This is not just new. We have infection control issues all the time. So if
I even know what that means, I don't have any degree, but I mean, the fact that I know what's going on, it's got to be bad.
Yeah. Hi. Hello. So what happened is Sherry goes to, what did she do? Oh, they told her when Arthur started getting out of bed, that it was her responsibility to sit with him and make sure that he didn't get out of bed. Right?
That's crazy.
Right? No. That's bullshit.
Yeah.
Like, nobody should ever put their loved one in a facility and
expect that kind of care. That is ridiculous. Oh my goodness.
Absolutely. Or the scenario I read in a different support group a long time ago was that this man had dementia. and his wife brought him he was admitted to the hospital. He was on healing for him. And foods only, right? Things that he could eat with his fingers, bananas, things of that nature. He specifically told them, do not give him anything in a wrapper, no ice cream in a cup, like a styrofoam cup. We'll eat the cup. So she went home for an hour to take a shower, right? The family caregiver. And she hasn't had any time to herself. And she came back and finds that somebody had given him a styrofoam cup full of ice cream, and he ate half of it, swallowed it, and after she told medical professionals, this will happen. Right? Like, how can you, the family caregiver, not be frustrated and have that attitude to healthcare and hospitals and shit like that?
Oh, definitely. I could not even. That's one thing that I hate is the lack of communication from the professional standpoints a lot of times. Because it's like a lot of times people don't want to communicate what the best level of care is. And it's just people that don't care. And that's what I cannot stand.
Exactly.
And it's just so unfortunate that the patients have to suffer because of that.
And they shouldn't.
No.
But yet it's become standard.
Yeah.
We'll toss our hands up and we'll say, well, what can we do about it? And I'm guilty. Sometimes I do. Oh, well, this nurse is going to listen to me. You know, I ran an issue with a nurse the other day who texted the nurse manager saying, complained about me that I called too much. I called to let you. So it's like, you don't want me to call you and tell you. So how are you going to if you don't know when I'm coming? But yet he doesn't want to. It's frustrating. It's very frustrating. So
I think her
I don't
little
know.
one was trying to be heard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think she is.
Man.
That's allowed. She's allowed to do whatever she wants. She's here to talk.
Danielle, you went through quite the ordeal throughout your pregnancy, and I feel for a lot of the CNAs and caregivers who are in those. I just feel like home care agencies need to take better care of their employees. We need more training. We need more something.
Oh, I definitely agree. Like, it was so frustrating for me because it just seems like a lot of the agencies are not putting caregivers in their best places to be in for their situations.
Right.
Like, I did explain to my agency, I have a high-risk pregnancy. I cannot lift more than 20 pounds. And then they have me go to homes and lift patients that are twice my size.
Right.
Knowing I could not do this. And it was basically that or don't work at all.
Right.
And to me, that's just,
Well, that's
it seems like oh yeah. It's definitely a scary situation to be in. And it makes you feel trapped because it's like, well, it's either lose my job or do this. And sometimes for me, I just had to put my health first whenever it came to that.
Well, and I remember you saying, I'm, what do I do? It seems like, my patients have, this is one thing that I hear all the time, experience myself with home care agents. I don't show up today, and nobody's there for that person.
Mm-hmm.
And as a CNA or as a caregiver, that's a sad feeling when you know, can't put yourself and your health first because you count on that agency to send somebody in lieu of competent enough to provide that.
Yeah,
It's a sad thing.
it really is. And I hope one day that can be fixed, because it's just so unfortunate that has to go on.
Well, and you know, for the Almighty, we care for some people, but who's taking care of us?
Exactly.
The laws don't take care of us. The policies and procedures don't take care of us.
Mm-hmm.
Our companies aren't taking care of us. The state isn't taking care of us. The federal government. But yet, the highest and highest job in the country, in the world. It's growing every day. But it's so messed up. But we do it because there's nothing better than people.
Oh, yes. And see, I absolutely love being a CNA. Like, it just means the world to me to be able to provide care to people. That's just who I am as a person.
Yeah.
But sometimes it hurts me that I have to take a break from it for so long. And I missed it a week after I enjoyed my week off, and then I missed it.
Mm-hmm.
And I've just missed it so much since, and I wish I could have continued doing light work somewhere.
Yeah. Well, and now you got a job. What are you doing now?
Right now, I'm still staying at home. I just got cleared to work again since my baby turned 6 weeks old.
Good deal.
And so far, I've not applied for anything, but I'm going to start applying in the hospital.
Yeah.
Because that's where I really want to start out again, is in the hospital, and see how that goes for me. That's where everybody has been telling me to go to, because a lot of the home health agencies around my area, unfortunately, do treat their employees that way.
Right.
But,
exactly. And you know, funny, when I was in homes, that's where I started. I started in skilled nursing facilities. I love old.
mm-hmm.
But I never felt like my skills were valuable to work in a hospital. I always felt less than.
Mm-hmm.
And until I applied to the hospital, and I realized hospitals are competing for me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait a minute. You know what? I actually have some skills that make me valuable. 14 years as a CNA is a long time.
Yeah, that is true.
That's a lot. But, you know, what about the people who don't have any?
Yeah, that is true.
Where do they go? Go in the top jobs, and they stay as long as they can until either this industry picks them up and spits them out, or they get smart and go somewhere better.
Yeah.
So, yeah. It's not a topic. I cannot people think it's not a topic.
Oh, it is a huge topic, and I feel like I could talk about it for hours, just because there is so much to cover on it. Mm-hmm. And it's so much, I don't know, it's so much craziness in it. There's so much, you want to tell people how much you appreciate doing it at the same time, and through all the craziness. It's just so much different stuff to me.
Absolutely.
It's a big topic.
It is a big topic. It's a loaded topic.
Yes.
I mean, and it affects all of us. And I truly feel like if we, well, first of all, we need to get our bedside health care.
Yes.
We have to remember why we have it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes.
If we don't talk about these things and address them, then how is anything ever going to get better?
That is true.
We need to prove to family caregivers and family members that we are competent, that we provide, and hold ourselves accountable for the care that we provide.
Mm-hmm.
And family caregivers have to understand that as certified nurses in medical settings, we are under tremendous demand. And the stress is overwhelming sometimes. And I think sometimes medical professionals are so overworked and have such stress that our that's not an excuse.
Mm-hmm.
But it's understandable. So if we communicate with each other and say, you know what, I understand what you're saying, but also understand that I've got 4 other patients, and I will get right to that as soon as I can. I mean, that's my philosophy. I always communicate with my people. I understand this, but right now, you know, I've got somebody on the toilet, and I've got to answer this call light, and God forbid anybody falls. Anything goes on.
Anything and everything can happen, and it seems like everything happens. Yes.
I know. One time I had this thing. I was working night shift, and I could see all the way down to the hall to the nurses' station. And I see these CNAs running after the man, and they're going back and forth. And it was kind of comical. It was like, what in the hell is going on down there? And then you know, the man is naked. Back and forth. And I was like, oh. So I went down. Turns out, this little man took off his dress from his wheelchair, busted open the window, and was trying to start a fire.
Oh my gosh.
I know. And I don't know, but all of a sudden, I don't know. I just wanted him to walk it off a little bit, and he was bleeding. And I got him clothes. You know what's going on? Why are you doing this? What are we doing? And it all came down to the fact that he had Bill. And if I really, truly couldn't, and felt like killing himself was the best. And I just told him not to stay. And not on my So we called and got it all taken care of. But
Yeah.
these things happen. We deal with these every single day.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said yesterday, most people like Danielle and myself to take care of them. Because there's a lot of people who have our heart, feels, and don't care.
Yeah.
So I don't know how we're gonna, but I think we just need to be talking about it.
I think so, and I think even the ones that don't seem to care, I think they deep down do have to care. You have to care about what you're doing. I don't know if there has to be an underlying reason to me, because I don't see why you would just go into a job you don't care about your patients.
Yeah.
I think maybe it is lost somewhere along the way. Maybe like you just get caught up trying to do your daily work and just get it done with, if that's possible.
No, I understand. I get where you're coming from. It's not that they don't care. It's that is it truly that we don't have the time to give people the care that we want to give them?
See, I think that, like, that's the only thing I can bring myself to think anyway.
Yeah. Well,
Because
unfortunately, about that is we have to rely on our company, our agency for their stability.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I guess it come down to holding them accountable.
Yes.
And how do you hold them accountable? Profit made.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there was a nurse in Oregon. She filed a complaint against the hospital because he felt that there was evidence of rushing people before they should have been dismissed.
Mm-hmm.
And when filed that report, fired. Despite the fact that law mandated orders.
Yeah.
But so she sued them and she won for she got pointed $2 million.
Oh, wow.
Took a major organization
Mm-hmm.
down. And that was one person.
And it does go to show that your voice can make a difference.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that a lot of us need to start speaking up about it.
Right. We don't because we're afraid to lose our job.
Exactly.
Our license.
Yes.
So what do we do? The system is broken. Mandy!
It definitely does have you backed into a corner.
Absolutely. Mandy.
Hello, all. Hi.
Oh, goodness. We're echoing.
Excellent. How did the hangout go?
Excellent. Let me see. I'm gonna try to. But you know how. My headphones went to pot. Yes. Dun, da, da, da. Okay. What time is it? Yeah, 15 minutes roundabout. So Danielle, I think you're cracking up, so I'm going to mute you for a second.
Okay.
Okay, hopefully I can unmute her in a minute. Mandy, my beautiful, wonderful admin to the Caregivers Hub.
Hello, my darling Cass. How are we?
Good.
Oh.
So we've been talking about professional caregivers and family caregivers.
Yes.
And what is your perception?
My perception is there's a breakdown in communication. I don't think that professional caregivers and family caregivers explain to each other what they expect realistically from each other. And I think that's one of the main problems.
Oh. See, I'm so glad you hopped on because that is exactly right. Danielle was talking about it earlier. The communication.
Yes. I agree completely.
Where is it? I mean, Mary, how was communication for you with your nurses and
I didn't have a bit of problem, but I have a tendency to talk a lot. And so I let everybody know what's going on. I never would stop, like if mom had a problem, everybody knew about it. So I never had anyone say, well, you should have told me. No, everybody knew about it. So my communication was good, but I have heard that in the past that people just don't care. And the minute that they show up at the house, they being a CNA show up at the house, they take off and go and do something for an hour and a half and come back, and they don't have any idea what happened while they were gone. And that's the part I can't understand, how they can how they as caregivers are supposed to be caring for someone that they love.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if once in a while I could see it, but this is like as soon as they walk in the door, out the door they go, because they want to be able to be away for an hour and a half, and they don't care what's going on. And
Well, and you know, I think that dementia and Alzheimer's mixed in non-communication is, you know, so we have non-communication, we have uneducated people caring for people with Alzheimer's and dementia, and then breakdown happens because there's no education about how to handle these things. Nobody's communicating about that education. You know, I mean, it's little things like, who was I talking with today? Oh, I had this little lady. So this I loved this lady, and because I worked in activities, and my part of doing activities was to interview all of the admits, write all of their care guides, and do all of their state MDSs. Upon doing 3 activities in the Alzheimer's unit by myself a day, so that's trying to get 30 people with Alzheimer's together to do one group activity. Madness!
I
And
have coming in late, but I did want to pop in and say hi. It was great to see you all, and I'm glad the hangout went smoothly.
so you're leaving me now?
I am. I have somebody coming in. Say hi, Rick.
Who?
Say hi, Rick.
Oh. Oh my goodness.
I'm going to catch Rick, but it was great to see you ladies, and I'll chat with you later. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye. So state surveyor came in, and this lady's on the Alzheimer's unit, and he says to the state surveyor, she says, well, they lock me in here. She said, they lock me in here. And it's a locked unit. She has Alzheimer's, right?
mm-hmm.
It's a locked unit. So the surveyor determines that because she made that statement, she's conscious of that fact. So there's really, truly no reason she should be back on that unit. Despite the fact that at night she starts sundowning and she started to scream and wake everybody up, right? And that's what an Alzheimer's unit is for. So that it's calm. And she was getting ramped up because all of the certified nurses' aides were behind the nurses' station at 10 o'clock doing shift change, and it got loud. And just that overstimulation. So she would start screaming, and every single night at 10 o'clock when I would come in, I would set down my stuff, I would grab her. She's already like red in the face screaming at people for no reason. And I just got 2 ice cream cups. I took her to this little, it was quiet in this library. And I just said, you know, tell me all about it. What's going on? And it didn't matter that none of it made sense. It was that time to say, and to validate that she felt that way, even if it was completely invalid. And since I knew her, that she grew up in Texas, you know, that, you know, all these little background things, it was what allowed me to turn the situation around and turn the conversation around and focus it on something different. That's just me. That's who I am. That's the training. That's the instinct but why did it take me to do that when there's
Because
5
you
certified
cared.
nurses aides? Because I cared. It's true. It is true. That they don't care. It's just that they don't take the time to do those things.
That's what I was going to say. They just don't take the time. And
Right,
they really
right.
should be, because they do have social needs and they want to be listened to. And that's something
Right.
that
Well, because
drove me crazy. Yes. And that was something that drove me crazy because whenever I was in my last agency, we would occasionally go into a Alzheimer's unit, and I would be with my patient, and sometimes other patients would wander into my patient's room, and they just wanted somebody to listen to them. And they said, nobody else over here would listen to me. And I'm like, well, you can come in here with us and we can talk.
Yeah.
So
I'll listen.
come on in. Yeah, I don't mind. I'll listen to whatever you got to say.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it.
Well, that's the thing. It's like I don't know what it's going to take for people to be on board with that. Is it a conscious effort that they don't think about it? They don't have the time.
That's what I think more than anything, that they don't have the time, that they've got, when they're seeing one patient, they've got 10 other patients that they have to see within the next half hour. So as long as she's okay or he's okay, they don't stay long.
Yeah.
Or at least that's the impression I get.
Well, and that's true. I mean, I've gone to hospitals and I've had patients go to hospitals and come back in worse condition than they left.
9 times out of 10, they're in worse shape than when they come back.
And that's the frustrating part. It's frustrating on so many levels.
Yeah. It seems like when you take someone you love to the hospital and they stay for a week or so, and then you bring them back and they're in worse shape, but it's because of the fact that they've got Alzheimer's and dementia, and the fact that being in the hospital is another high point. I've never heard of anybody that has dementia that comes out of the hospital better than when they left. Truthfully.
No. Well, and they're not trained. There's nothing. If you don't work in an urgent care, trains you for Alzheimer's and dementia. I mean, Danielle, there's no educational requirements anywhere that you know of, do you, that requires you to have that education?
No, not really that I can think of.
That's what I'm saying. Is populations that we care for have some form of dementia or Alzheimer's.
Yeah, and there's just not enough training on that. There really isn't.
No.
I mean, I've just signed up to be with a home health care agency, and basically I'm just looking for someone that can be a sleeper or a sitter, someone that I can go when they're in the hospital and sit so that I can talk to them and stuff. And if they need an RN, then I can call them because the RNs are just too busy. I understand that.
Yeah.
And here I am, I've just walked in the door and I'm talking to a lady who says that she's been healthcare provider for 14, 15 years. And I started talking about Alzheimer's, and I started talking about all the different kinds of Alzheimer's, and she was like, huh? And when I'm saying that a new one is developed every 65 seconds, and she's like, what? Now, don't they have training about this?
No.
That's the part that I just listened to her, and I'm saying, I'm not a professional. I don't have a degree. I don't have anything. It's just, I have common sense in what I've been doing for 5 years. I possibly know more than even the director, because it seemed like they didn't know what I knew about it.
Exactly.
And when I started telling them about when my mother-in-law went to the hospital because since she fell, the doctor was afraid that maybe she'd had a mini stroke or something. And then when I got to the hospital, they said that, well, maybe she has Alzheimer's, or maybe she's got a yeast infection, even though she didn't give any indication, but because she's on the medication. But the fact that they at least cared enough to admit her versus the horror stories I hear from other people, it's scary what I hear from other people. how they have to lay in wait for 3 days before they can be seen by a real doctor.
And yeah, that's heartbreaking to me. And that's what I'm saying, is that whether you are on the family caregiving side or you're on the professional caregiving side, I think we can all agree, every single one of us, that we are frustrated with the way that healthcare is. We're frustrated with the demands that it puts on us, the financial burdens that it puts on us, and the lack of compassion and integrity that most medical professionals have. Or maybe I shouldn't say most, I should say a good majority. I mean, so roundaboutly, without giving all my personal business away, but my brother was having some questionable mental issues, and somehow he hospital, picked up by the police, and because of supposed mental issues, he was admitted to this hospital. So I call down there, and I'm talking to them, and I knew exactly, in this medical profession, look, I need to talk to the charge patient. And she's like, oh, I know all about him. And I'm like, oh, do you now? So you tell me what you think is here for trespassing. I said, wait a second. He went to school to be a registered nurse for how many years? 5. Exactly. So you tell me anywhere clinically that would make sense clinically for you to treat somebody in a medical institution for trespassing. Why would they even? I was like, does that make any sense to you? She's like, no. I was like, you answered your own question. I wanted a mental health eval. She told me no, we couldn't do that the only actions she could take was to send a social worker in there to talk to him. And of course, nobody will tell you they have mental issues or acknowledge they have mental issues. It's not usually like someone says, absolutely. No. So of course he said, get out of here, and I don't want to talk about it. And that was that. I'm like, well, if someone is brought to you with supposed mental issues and you see nowhere in their chart that they have, shouldn't you be wondering why he's having mental type issues?
Exactly.
Wouldn't you order a psych eval if you were an attending doctor in an ER? That's what you would do. But it just all goes down the crap hole. And it's frustrating. So it is 6:04, my lovely ladies. So I'm going to end this hangout, but I definitely think that we need to keep talking about this topic. We need to keep bringing it up, and we have to work together. We have to communicate better. And I think that if I can hold myself accountable to putting that in the forefront of my mind as I go out into the community as a medical professional, to work with family caregivers and to work with other medical professionals, then I hope that if you're watching this hangout and professional, that you do this. And family caregivers, if you are experiencing the care that you expect and you've communicated with your care professional, keep searching. We have to hold ourselves accountable, and we have to allow our family caregivers to hold us accountable. What has happened to Sherry Burke and Arthur Burke through the VA is a disservice to somebody who has spent their life fighting for our freedoms, who's lived through World War II. We shouldn't expect our family caregivers to provide medical care to their loved ones when they're in medical care facilities. It's not right. And, we shouldn't over-medicate our patients either, just so that 8-hour shift. I mean, there's so many things that come into play that we could talk forever about these things. So I want to thank Danielle, and I want to thank Mary for coming out, and Mandy for coming out, talking about these things. I love that we can get together and I can see your beautiful faces, and I appreciate all of your support. And so before we sign off, I'm going to give Mary and Danielle, I'm going to any little words of wisdom and nuggets you've got. We will. Oh, did I do it? Maybe I didn't.
I say she's still muted.
Yeah, she's still muted. I don't know. Danielle, can you unmute yourself? Maybe not.
Did I get it?
Oh, yeah.
There we go.
So, any words of wisdom to leave people with today?
I think just the biggest thing is just reiterate what you said. Family caregivers and professional caregivers need to talk and set down a guideline of what we expect from each other. And I just think that is the most important thing, is you need to know what exactly each person needs, like what daily thing each person needs and has to have done. Sorry.
That's so cute.
I don't know what I was saying now.
Good, perfect. I agree with you. We need to learn to work together.
Yes, definitely. That's just, I think from everything that, all the problems that I've had, most of them anyway, that I've had is lack of communication.
Yeah.
And guidelines were not set, and somewhere in there, people got upset, and guidelines have to be made. And I think that's just like the most important thing that I have encountered, is that you just have to be able to talk about it and just know what each person needs. Going in.
Exactly. Well, thank you, Danielle. I appreciate you coming out, baby. All.
There she is. Oh, she's so little.
All right, I'm going to mute Danielle.
Okay.
You can say her piece, but I love you to pieces. Thank you for coming out.
Thanks for having us.
Let's give girls of wisdom if you got them.
Well, I was lucky. I guess I would just say, when you find a good CNA, you grab them, you keep them, you don't let them go. You don't do anything to mess them up. I was lucky. I had somebody good, and I will always talk very highly of her. Now, the other ones, the helpers that came to the house, were no good, and they didn't stay but one day. But we'll get into another story at another time.
Maybe that's a pearl of wisdom. Don't stop until you find the right one.
Yeah, but I was lucky. She was the very first one, and I don't ever want to. I know that even if she were to come back, my mother-in-law were to come back today, she would come back to take care of her. So that we've got that kind of relationship, which I love.
Good deal. And I actually, so I had a hospice patient, and the wife was very proactive, and maybe to other CNAs, she was somebody who could potentially be a pain in the butt. But, she was dissatisfied with some of the caregivers that were sent to her from a caregiving agency. And what I told her in that moment, as hospice CNAs, we're oftentimes dealing more patient care centered, but we are and offering support and things of that nature. And what I told her was, this is just like dating. You have to kiss a few frogs to find the right one. So don't stop demanding excellent care and holding us accountable to providing that. And if you have to keep going, through certified nurses, aides, and caregivers, then keep doing it until you find the right one, and make sure their agencies, their skilled nursing facilities, their assisted livings, and their adult family homes, make sure that you are communicating exactly what you don't like about the care that they've provided.
Exactly.
You know, because maybe to not make a stink about say certain things, right? To keep the peace, to not create waves and ripples. But I think that we have to start. I think that if you see something you don't like, you have to hold them accountable, and we have to be accountable for the care we provide. So that's all I've got for you, lovelies, today. Next month we will do the first Sunday of every single month, 5:00 p.m. Pacific time. If there's something if that you are on a mission and you want to create awareness, come on out. If you have a caregiving topic you want to talk about, bring it to my attention and we will talk about it. Another thing, at the end of every single month at 5:00 p.m., we have our daily teleseminar, or our monthly teleseminar. And that is mainly for people who maybe aren't comfortable coming out and interacting with us like this, or aren't technically savvy, and it's easier to just dial in and listen. So those things are always available within the Caregivers Hub support group. You can find the link to the Caregivers Hub support group on the Caregivers Hub's fan page. That is Facebook/Caregivers Hub 15. And I will always make sure that you have the link to get on here. So thank you to my lovely ladies. Thank you to all you hubbers who continually come to the Caregivers Hub and interact and have made it the wonderful, beautiful place that it is for caregivers. So peace out.
Bye.
Bye.